So now we're entering into the final core of Danganronpa 3, Mirai-hen, episode 10. And it's better than last week's, definitely. So the episode itself opened up with Kyoko, with a flashback of Kyoko and Makoto in the garbage dump from the first game. And of course the great little ramen cup noodles thing joke on her head. I'm not sure if it was the same animation they used in the Danganronpa D animation. Kind of felt different. Maybe they reanimated it, but still it was basically the exact same scene. And funny enough, right before the credits, they went to the exact same shots from last week, so don't you love it when studios are able to cut corners like that? But yeah, it was, I guess, effective, just highlighting that Kyoko's dead, and I'm sure that they're not gonna try and reverse it like they did with Asahina. And I'm sure that 6 count that little 6 count right there means nothing. It's just a animation error, I'm sure. They're probably gonna revive Kyoko. Anyway, after Munakata's little very villainous kind of speech that he couldn't save Kyoko and all that, Makoto decides to go face Munakata head on, and of course. But before he goes, there's actually a really good scene between him and Ryota, in which they discuss why he's going and why he's so hopeful, even though Kyoko's dead. And Makoto just starts crying and saying that he's not in the best of mood. He's really not unaffected by the whole thing, and yeah, he's really torn up, but he still has to do what he has to do. And yeah, I especially like this little exchange because it's between Makoto and Ryota, the guy who, as we know from the Zetsubohen, is more than a little bit responsible for all the crap that's gone on. So I really wish that Mirai-hen had a few more scenes like this. It's just like these brief little scenes with character exchanges, which was one of the most important things from the games, yet this season kind of lacked it in both Mirai and Zetsubo. But whatever. Back with Munakata, he's just sitting there having a little flashback of a moment where Chisa found like this kindergarten where all the kids died, and he's like, he just remembers that little kindergarten scene, and it's gonna come back later. So we'll get to that. And yeah, but basically he's torn up about it, and now he's ready to do his whole going on his whole Knight Templar thing and going to fix up the world and all that with his hypocritical acts, whatever. Honestly, at this point, Munakata's just... I'm not a huge Munakata fan, but at this point, we kind of become so freaking over the top that it's actually kind of swerved back from being bad to being good, just because this episode, he's just so out of it, and it's kind of hilarious, especially like last week when he killed Sakakura, and he's just like, damn you, Despair, how dare you kill my best friend, even though it was me with me, and even though it was seriously not me, it was just Despair. It wasn't me, or it wasn't this big Kabaneri sword that I'm holding. No, it was Despair that killed Sakakura, damn you all. You know, in that sense, Munakata's actually become a little bit more entertaining, so points there. The next few scenes are, I won't spoil it too much. Basically, Munakata trying to chase down Makoto, and of course, obviously, he can't open doors, so he's just slicing his way through it, and Makoto is just laying down little traps here and there, and they're actually kind of clever. The ways in which Munakata is able to avoid them is kind of BS, but whatever. And, I mean, can you just evaporate water with a little sword, with your big sword, and just let a room full of water evaporate? I'm not sure about that, but whatever. Anyway, as the chase winds down, Makoto does try to use the same fire extinguisher trick that Asahina used near the beginning of this series, and it doesn't. Of course, it doesn't work yet again. Munakata just slices it, throws it aside, and then the fire extinguisher hits him in the back, and they fall. Ultimate BS powers, my friends. Okay, maybe Makoto doesn't have the same as Nagito, but he at least has some of it, baby. Back with back with Asahina and Ryota and Kyoko, they find Kyoko's notes, and she looks like she's come upon something. Let's see. And anyway, we finally go back to Makoto and Munakata, and of course he goes on his little spiel about, "You're the real despair. I will extinguish you. I am true hope." Even though you look like, you kind of look like that. So maybe you need a mirror just to see, yeah. Anywho, through this, but before he can swing down his sword, he stops, revealing that, revealing what we all knew, he can't open doors. And by that logic, if Makoto happens to be the thing that triggers their escape, then that might count as opening doors, so he's hesitating from doing it. So then we also flash back to what Tengan said a few episodes back, with him telling Munakata who the attacker could be, and of course he just says, "It could be anyone." Gee, thanks for that, old man. It could be anyone, including Chisa. Oh, okay, that actually helps. That actually kind of helps, yeah. And of course that's pretty much why Munakata killed the old guy. And sure enough, when Munakata searches Chisa's corpse, he finds photos of her. He finds a photo of her with the kids from the kindergarten, and then another picture of her with saying "I did it," and with her swing on the swing set while the kids' corpses were in the background. Yeah, definitely level 5 Ren at this point. At least she didn't try to blow everyone up this time, but yeah. Anyway, Chisa was definitely still in full-on despair mode from the Zetsubo-hen, so that can't mean anything good for Chiaki in the upcoming episodes. So yeah, but yeah, for in the Mirai-hen, definitely Chisa was definitely on the side of the remnants of despair. So, and it could very well be at this point that she's the mastermind. They said 6, as they said, they have 6 more. There's still 6 people left. So, if Kyoko happens to be alive, then number 6 is going to be somebody. Anyway, Makoto manages to snap Munakata out of his whole despair trance by saying that Munakata has kind of been stupid and that he's just been looking at despair this whole time and never at hope. Well, duh. He's just been so obsessed with destroying despair that he's not going to be able to actually bring hope to anyone, because he's just thinking, oh, maybe I could just kill despair. You can't kill depression, my friend. That's something you have to work towards. You have to actually consult people through their despair. You have to actually be supportive, be helpful, be a nice guy. Just basic principles. Anyway, after that, his eye suddenly changes back to normal colors. Was he actually just cosplaying as Ken Kaneki this entire time? He was just wearing colored contacts? Because that was weird. Anyway, after that, the episode ends with Asahina and Ryota coming in, and Asahina bringing out Kyoko's note saying that she knows who the attacker is. And then after the credits, we also go back to Jabberwock Island, and we're thinking that maybe we get to see a little bit more of Hajime Izuru, and no, we just see a few shots of the battleships. If you enjoyed High Fleet last season, then I'm sure this is a nice little bit, but yeah, nothing much comes of it, So, good episode overall. I did really like the little scenes, like the little bits between Makoto and Ryota, and even the chase scene between Makoto and Munakata was actually pretty well handled. There were I like that Munakata, I don't want to spoil it actually. I like just the little bits of how they're able to fake each other out and then able to get the upper hand on one another through some interesting tactics. Kind of disappointed it ended up with yet more BS ultimate luck powers. I seriously thought Makoto was able to just figure out that fire extinguisher is going to conveniently explode onto Munakata's back, but ultimate BS powers. That's... You know it would be worse if it was Nagito. It's just Makoto has like maybe half his luck. So yeah. Anyway, good episode. I guess I'm looking forward to next week's. Definitely looking forward to later this week's Setsubohen, just to see what Chisa's going to do with Chiaki, because now we definitely know that Chisa's been pretty much in despair for at least a good few years now. So yeah, that's not gonna bode well for Chiaki. Oh boy. Well, I'll see you guys for Thursday for that. Right now, I have to get ready to go to a much more despair-inducing place. The dentist's office. Pray for me, my friends.